Hi, I'm Dr. Anna, and I am passionate about your trauma and recovery. This is Ask Dr. Anna, so you know this is all about your questions and the things that are most important for you after trauma. First, I want to just say thank you so much for the feedback that we're getting. I have to read you this beautiful email that I received, and I just have to thank all of you for the wonderful feedback that we're getting, because this work is so important to us and we really want it to make a difference for you. Let's listen to this one. Thank you. I went through the program. I do want you to know that for the past 2 months, I've been teaching a wellness resiliency program, and at the start of each class, we've been watching your short videos on YouTube. The veterans have responded very positively about your comments and perceptions that you offer. And as we go into the lesson, the veterans relate what you said to the material we're studying. I believe your videos have had a strong impact on these veterans with some of the secrets they don't want to talk about. Secrets are so big because they block us up so powerfully. Now I want to talk about somebody else's secrets, and this is another email that we received, and this time it's from Mary Beth. Let's listen to what Mary Beth has to tell us about her experience after trauma. After trauma, I found that I have the tendency to have difficulties controlling my emotions at work. Occasionally, I have outbursts, and I'm in an open concept office. It's often noticed by other employees, and I feel humiliated and ashamed by my response, and this leads to horrible feelings about how others, especially my supervisors, think of me. I get very angry with myself for not being able to hide my emotions better, and the thought of others thinking badly of me is almost too much for me to bear. How do I stop caring about what other people think? Mary Beth, you are a courageous woman to look at this and try to figure it out. I want you to think more about yourself and less about what other people think as a starting point. Listen, feeling humiliated by your behavior is not easy to bear, but trying to learn from it gives you the opportunity to use it as a place for growth. And we all need that. A number of years ago, I was beginning to offer training. I started to become a professional speaker. Now, this goes back quite a few years, but even at that point, I had learned a lot about trauma, growth, and recovery, and I really wanted to share. One of my very first audiences, I was there in front of a large group of people, and many of them had been doing clinical work, caring for other people for a lot longer than I had. And I could feel myself being pretty uncomfortable, trying to get, my point across. And as we all know, as we start to feel anxious, it becomes harder and harder to get our point across in an effective way. So I was not doing the best job I possibly could in getting my point across because I felt nervous and backed into a corner, and I could feel that they weren't quite connecting. They weren't quite getting my point. And so I was feeling frustrated, and I was getting more nervous, and that made me angry. And well, you can see it's kind of a cycle. What I needed to do was step back from that, do my own reflection, really think about the feedback I was getting from the people around me, so that I could do the kind of growth I needed to do to talk about trauma, which is my passion. So what I want you to be able to do is really learn from the difficult moments in life, even if you do feel embarrassed, cornered, and just not feeling as good as you possibly can. Maybe even you feel angry. So, okay, I get it, and it can be very, very tough. So there are a number of things that I want you to think about. First of all, I want you to know that some of what you're saying to yourself is what's getting you in trouble. Here are the pieces of the puzzle that I want you to use to help you grow. No big growth happens without the courage of inner reflection and self-challenge. Consider yourself on a path of learning. The next thing I want you to do is take the time to learn what leads up to those angry outbursts. This is basically you sitting quietly, giving yourself enough time to ask yourself, in your workplace, what types of interactions, events, or tasks result in you kind of having this emotion that gets out of control, what you're calling your outbursts? I want you to list every single one of them. Every example you can think of that has then led to an outburst. And then the next thing in your task is to ask yourself, what is the common denominator? What are the kinds of things that lead you to these outbursts? Are you telling yourself that you're afraid of negative feedback, or that you're a failure, or that you're not good enough? What is it that's leaving you feeling so out of control? And then I want you to now think about recognizing that what you say to yourself is more powerful than what anybody else might have to say to you. Because think about it this way. If you're saying to yourself, I'm hopeless, whenever somebody gives you some feedback about what you're doing, then that's what you're going to embed. You're not going to be able to hear that what they really want you to do is speak a little slower when you're talking to a client, or try to capture all the details. What is it that you're hearing? What's the feedback? And is it different from what you tell yourself? Because often it really is. What you tell yourself can often be far, far worse than what other people are telling you. So let that be part of the learning too, and get in touch with what you're saying to yourself and how it may be different from what the person who's talking to you or the interaction you're actually having. Let that be a chance to open the door to growth. So worry less about hiding your emotions and learn. 1, no big growth happens without inner reflection. You're already on this path, Mary Beth. That's fantastic. Learn about what ignites your outbursts, because they're really your outbursts. You're carrying them with you everywhere. They're just getting ignited. Become very familiar with those types of events. They're trying to teach you. Use them as friends. And finally, saying negative things to yourself is going to block your growth. And instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And let that be the big question. Embrace growth in your trauma recovery, and have a gentle day.